Welcome to this series of short films that are being produced by EvalIndigenous, a global network of Indigenous evaluators. These short films are about Indigenous evaluators. They will show you that we have Indigenous evaluators also in the evaluation sector. They are part of the global evaluation community. They will talk about their experiences in the field of evaluation, the successes, the challenges, and the perceptions of the Made in Africa Evaluation Initiative. They are going to share with us the perceptions of the future of the evaluation field, especially as it relates to the Eval Agenda 2030, and especially for us here in Africa as it relates to the African Union's Vision 2063. It's a vision of the Africa that we want. So for us in Africa, we are looking at Indigenous evaluation knowledge and whether it will be accepted to be in the space where knowledge from the West has dominated. As we talk about the Vision 2063, we have to think of sustainability. Yes, most African nations are politically independent. However, economically, we are still struggling as nations and VOPs. We are still dependent on external funding, and that's why we have all these dominating development programs and projects that are laid from the global north. 60 years after independence, Zambia is still talking about building national evaluation capacity. And it's not alone. There are other African countries that sing the same song. Where have we been all these years? And why are our VOPs not growing membership? And why have our VOPs remained to be dustbins of ideas that have been discarded elsewhere, but they are in the forefront of promoting those ideas? We are in the era of SDGs, where no one should be left behind, but we have left the majority of our citizens behind because we have not heard the voices or included them in these developments of evaluation. EvalIndigenous is opening up and giving room to Indigenous evaluators to voice out the perceptions on the developments in the countries on developing evaluation, giving voices to Indigenous communities to air the views that may not be taken aboard when these teams of evaluators from the global north fly in to do the evaluations. Yes, they may be laid by a person of color. Yes, they may be laid by a female. However, we are questioning the influence that people of color have on boards of these firms and of these international organizations that are leading the development of evaluation across the globe. We have people of color, Indigenous, or from marginalized groups that sit to add color on the boards, the head tables. And as we now refer to them as the black peacocks that add color to the garden parties in Europe and in America and have no influence on what is going on. We want the voices of those black peacocks not only to be heard, but to have an influence. So we are starting from the bottom up in the evaluation world, trying to influence the uptake of indigenous knowledge, the uptake of the voices of beneficiaries in these global development evaluations. This is what the Voice Project of the network of indigenous evaluators is about. You want a lot of indigenous evaluators and indigenous communities to come aboard and air their views on their experiences taking part in monitoring and evaluation in the communities and in the nations, and where they think the Made in Africa evaluation initiative should be, what their place should be in global development in the Eval Agenda 2030 and the African Union's Vision 2063. If you want to be heard, please contact EvalIndigenous or Eval Partners, and we shall record your views. Or you can send a clip of you talking about your experiences, your successes, your challenges, and what you perceive to be the future of evaluation in your indigenous communities, nation, and the continent of Africa. Without hearing your voice, then nothing will change. No one should be left behind. We should have space for indigenous people, their knowledge, their voices on the global stage. And that's what we are fighting for, that your voices should be heard by the global community of evaluators as well as policymakers. Then we shall have the world that we want. This is John Njovu in Lusaka, Zambia.